radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah. How you doing? How you doing? Today's Monday, November 16th, 2020. "321 days into the new year, only 45 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Wow, what a great week we've got lined up for the show tonight. Right here, Dave Schrader, star of the Holzer Files and Darkness Radio, joining us tonight. Full night of ghosts, paranormal, the supernatural, and a very special episode of the Holzer Files, which is going to air this Thursday. We will be talking about all of that tonight. Tomorrow night, right here, Rick Delano. Rick Delano is here to talk about his new hit film, The End of Quantum Reality. I have seen the film. I've seen the film twice. Absolutely incredible. You can check it out. It is on Amazon and all of the video on demand platforms that are out there. It's an incredible film. You need to check it out. He's got another film out that came out a few years ago called The Principal, and you should check that out too. Pretty cool. And we'll be talking about both of those films tomorrow night. And Wednesday night, Stephen Bassett will discuss the new Biden administration and hear their position on disclosure and the UFO question as we head into 2021. And then Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. What an incredible week. I wanted to tell you guys, I hope you had a great weekend. Last night, okay, I'm gonna go here. Sunday night for Rita and I, just like the rest of the country, you know, we're watching TV, movies, getting caught up on TV series. The Undoing, if you haven't watched that yet on HBO, we watched episode 4 last night. Wow, incredible film or incredible series. And got caught up. I finished Wayne this weekend, and last night. So we're just watching stuff last night, and finished dinner, and which was Italian, lasagna specifically, and so we're in bed. I got my PJs on, and my daughter rolls in. Our daughter, I should say, Diana. She rolls in at about 9:30, 10 o'clock and says, "Hey, frozen yogurt?" I'm like, "What?" "We're in bed." "Oh, come on, frozen yogurt right now?" And Rita's like, "Okay." I'm like, "What? You want frozen yogurt now?" "Yeah." So I get up, get dressed, leave the house, go to the frozen yogurt place next to us, load up on frozen yogurt, come back, crawl into bed, eating frozen yogurt, continuing to watch TV. It's now 11:30. 11:30. I'm dozing off, too, by the way. Knock on the bedroom door. It's Deanna again. Hey, I'm hungry. I want French fries. I'm like, what? French fries. How do you can't turn your daughter down if she wants French fries at midnight. So we tried to talk Rita into making French fries. No. That wasn't going to happen. And we were close, by the way. We were close. And then Diana talks me into going to McDonald's. So we went to McDonald's last night after the frozen yogurt. Now, this is midnight. I pull into McDonald's to the drive-thru. Can I help you? Yeah, 2 large fries, please. Okay. Anything else? Nope. Oh, man. Came back home, crawled back into bed, get back into my PJs, and back into whatever we were watching, eating my McDonald's fries, which were pretty good. And following frozen yogurt, actually, French fries are pretty good. And really, you want them at the same time. Deanna didn't work that part out, but nonetheless, that was my evening. What a perfect Sunday night it was. It doesn't get any better than that, I gotta say. All right. It's Monday. We've got a great show tonight. Dave Schrader is here. We've got a great week lined up. I hope that everybody had a great weekend. Got to hang out with the family for a couple of days, both on Saturday and Sunday. Nothing better than that. And then, of course, frozen yogurt and French fries with the kids all the way to midnight. It doesn't get any better. Now, really quick, let's get some stuff out of the way. I want you to visit Billy Carson's forbiddenknowledge.tv. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Get over there, click, get registered. 3 days for free trial membership right now over at forbiddenknowledge.tv. And got a couple of things cooking right now with Billy. He's got a new book coming out. I just finished the foreword to that book, and the announcement of that is going to be very, very soon. That's happening, and we're also doing a couple of other things, and I can't wait for those announcements to come out. And one of them is a documentary on the Dark Knight satellite, full feature film documentary. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. And also, Crystal Skulls, the best out there are with Carolyn Ford. Go to EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Use the promo code Jimmy for 10% off of your order. And also over at JimmyChurchRadio.com, we've got Get the Tea. Head over there. Promo code is Fader for free shipping. The links are at JimmyChurchRadio.com. And, of course, River Moon Coffee, Fade to Black Blend, all of our new Black Moon wellness products. All of that is available. Just click on the links over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. All right, follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Twitter was on fire today. You know what I posted about, and I also did this over on Facebook. And more on this in just a bit. If you haven't checked it out, wait. But follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the Sandbox on Twitter. We also have 2 chat rooms open, one over at Spreaker. Hello to everybody over on Spreaker. I see you guys posting. Who is M? M is the latest poster over in the chat room. There you go. There's Carola. There's Catalina. I'm sure Gene is in there somewhere. Hello to everybody there. And, of course, Facebook, YouTube, everybody out there. All right. It's cold here in L.A. It got warm last couple of nights, last couple of days. Then it got cold again. It's cold. Cold. I need my, hey, have you guys, I need my hot coffee in the studio. You guys see the new Wolfgang Van Halen video? You guys see that? Tribute to Eddie? Yeah, I know. It'll put a lump in your throat. Great home movies that are in that video. That's it's pretty well done. If you haven't checked it out, you can look it up right now and go and see it. I was going to put a link up to it today. I was too emotionally wrapped up in the video, but it's pretty incredible. And you can email Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get to the breaking news. The Crew 1 astronauts just beamed a short tour of the Crew Dragon home in space. And yes, there's lots of Baby Yoda. That's right. I got my Baby Yoda over there. Baby Yoda's floating around and had like a bag of candy or something. I don't know. And it was pretty cool. Mike Hopkins, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialist Shannon Walker. Walker also gave viewers a look at how astronauts spin their water bottles to drink in space. That was pretty cool. While Noguchi offered a glimpse in the spacecraft's storage area beneath its seats, right? Store everything beneath the seats in front of you. Now, after yesterday's launch of 4 astronauts, which was pretty incredible, which means 7 astronauts on the ISS now are there, or about to be. They're docking as we speak, by the way. But there's only 6 sleeping pods. You've got 7 astronauts, 6 beds. So Mission Commander Mike Hopkins will sleep in SpaceX's Crew Dragon craft docked to the space station until a later cargo mission delivers an additional sleeping pod next year. All of this is leading up to the docking, which is happening right now. And there you go. When they complete that, I'll let you know. All right. Alaska Airlines was involved in a dramatic collision with a brown bear while landing on Saturday night. The impact of the crash killed the bear, but its cub, because there was 2 bears, right? The cub miraculously survived the incident. The big bear, and it was a big bear, caused significant damage to the engine cowl. You should see the pictures, too, of the jet during the bizarre encounter at Yakutat Airport in Alaska. Airport staff had cleared the runway in the Southeast Alaska airport about 10 minutes prior to the landing. However, the pilots powered down the jet following touchdown, and they spotted the 2 bears crossing the runway. There's only half of the airport is fenced in. That's right. Yeah, pretty crazy. Well, tonight, not 1, but 5 asteroids will enter our backyard. First up is 2020 VR4 measuring 27 meters in diameter. It's going to pass Earth at about 2.2 million kilometers. Shortly after that will be the closest encounter as the 11-meter 2020 VM5 heads past us at only 426,000 kilometers. And if you think about that, the moon is 239,000 miles away at 385,000 kilometers. So that's a close drive-by right there. Bringing up the rear tonight are the 9-meter 2020 VA3 at a distance of 4.2 million kilometers, the 13-meter 2020 VS1 at 2.8 million kilometers, and lastly will be 2020 VB3, measuring only 4 meters at 589,000 kilometers, also very close, just past the moon. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Missy Pyle is 48 years old, and she played Laliari on Galaxy Quest. And, she was the one. That's her, right? Happy birthday, Missy Pyle. Jazz pianist and singer Diana Krall today is 56. And Fadernaut Monica today is 50. Monica wrote me a letter. She wrote me an email and said, hey, you never announced birthdays for November 16th. Well, I've got one for you. How about me? And today I'm 50, so happy birthday today, Monica. Our dead guy's birthday today is W.C. Handy. 1873 to 1958, died at the age of 84. He's known as the father of the blues. William was one of the most influential songwriters in the United States. And although he did not create the blues, but he was the first to publish it, made it famous and mainstream. Handy was born in Memphis and died in New York City at the age of 84. On this day in history, 1945. As part of Operation Paperclip, The United States ships 88 German scientists to America to assist the nation in its production of rocket technology. The media, reporters, and photographers were not allowed to interview any of them or photograph the event. How crazy is that on this day? Operation Paperclip. Fate or fact? All right. This has been vetted. Most Korean people don't have armpit odor. Right. Only 0.006% of the Korean population have the ABCC11 gene, which is the cause of armpit odor. As a result, it's hard to find deodorants. They don't sell them anywhere in the country. Seriously, I just had to share that with you. That's absolutely too incredible. Drop that knowledge at a party. Drop that knowledge. You can have somebody Korean in the background. That's true. I've never used deodorant. That's crazy. Tonight, Dave Schrader is here, star of the Holzer Files. Get ready for that. Tomorrow night, Rick Delano is here, writer and producer of the new hit film, The End of Quantum Reality. Wednesday night, Stephen Bassett is here talking about the new Biden administration, disclosure, and the UFO question. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right, let me hit this River Moon coffee. You see me chugging this through the whole show. I need it. Yes. Yes, Dan, you do understand that line from Walking in Memphis Now. I know, right? Okay. Well, it's like this, everybody. I need you to sit down. I need you to listen. Remember Cambridge Analytica? Of course you do. Remember the outrage? Do you remember how angry you were? Right? Well, to refresh your memory a little bit, let me remind you that Cambridge Analytica was a British political consulting firm that was involved in influencing hundreds of elections around the world and was at the center of the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal. Remember all of that? Hearings, Congress, the Senate, Zuckerberg. Cambridge Analytica was involved in so many countries and elections that I don't have the time to mention them all right now. But they set up shop in Australia, the UK, India, Kenya, Malta, Mexico, and of course, the United States. Now, I don't do politics, but I love the conspiracy of politics. So check this out. Cambridge Analytica, from now on, I'm just going to say CA, right? From this point on in the rant. But Cambridge Analytica entered the U.S. market in 2012 and was involved in 44 U.S. congressional, U.S. Senate, and state-level elections in the 2014 United States elections. It gets crazier, though. CA's involvement in the 2016 Republican Party presidential primaries became known in July 2015, when CA claimed to have collected up to 5,000 data points on over 220 million Americans. That's 5,000 points of data on each individual, amounting to 220 million. Selling their data directly to candidates in the race. And the law firm representing CA, with them getting involved in any elections in the United States, Bracewell and Giuliani. That's right. Mayor Rudolph Giuliani. Now, Rudy left the firm in 2016 after the elections to work for the new, President Donald Trump. Now, I'm not going to get into what CA was doing in the U.S. since 2012 through 2016. That's all well documented at this point. But let's just say this. Cambridge Analytica knew how to influence any population anywhere in the world. Total professionals in the PSYOP. The absolute best. And they did it all for the money. So I'll ask you again. Do you remember how angry you were when you found out that Facebook was selling your data to Cambridge? Do you remember that? CA bragged about having 5,000 data points on over 220 million Americans, and that includes you. Cambridge Analytica said directly that the company had worked in more than 200 elections around the world, including India, Pakistan, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Colombia, Cyprus, Zambia, South Africa, Romania, Italy, Lithuania, Trinidad, Tobago, Nigeria, the Czech Republic, Argentina, the Philippines, and Brazil. A total of 68 countries, including the United States. On May 1st, 2018, Cambridge Analytica closed its doors. Or did they? Auspix International was launched by Cambridge Analytica staff, a company intended to influence politics and society in Africa and the Middle East. Data Propria is a data analysis firm launched in May 2018 by former executives of Cambridge Analytica. Data was founded and is in the old Cambridge Analytica offices in London. I'll get back to Data in just a bit, but one principal, founder, and investor in Cambridge Analytica was one Robert Mercer. Now, Robert is rich. Really, really rich. He's a hedge fund manager, computer scientist, also into artificial intelligence. He's a researcher and a developer, and former co-CEO of the hedge fund company Renaissance Technologies. Yeah, and that should scare you. But he was also a partner and shareholder in, wait for it, Breitbart News Network. But let us continue, because it gets better. I promise. Back to Data. The new data acquisition firm that is currently in the old CA offices, doing the same thing, by the way, selling your data to influence society and elections all around the world. One of the founders and investors in Data is Rebecca Mercer, daughter of Robert Mercer. Robert Mercer sold his stake in Breitbart News Network to, wait for it, his daughter, Rebecca. Now, I can't make this stuff up. That's right. Cambridge Analytica and Data were founded by one of the new owners of Breitbart News Network. What could go wrong? This is one of the craziest rabbit holes that anyone can go down. And just when you thought it couldn't get any nuttier, chew on this. If you are an heiress to billions of dollars, and you are in the business of influencing the minds of the planet, collecting and selling personal data on private individuals, getting involved in world politics with conspiracy theories, you are a reporter, partner in a major news media company. So what do you do next? Go to Disneyland? Yes, you do. You see, Rebecca Mercer decided the next move to control minds is to start a social media network. So, she and her partners, John Matz and Jared Thompson, founded Parler. As of June 2020, Parler has been funded by angel investors. No advertising. Nope. No revenue or income. Nope. Just doing it for fun. They currently have 30 employees. How are they getting paid? No advertising, right? Think about this. The company has refused to disclose the identity of its owners until now. John Matz has confirmed in a Parler post that Robert and Rebecca Mercer were funding Parler. Now, this is the true king of all rabbit holes. Robert and Rebecca Mercer, from founding Cambridge Analytica to Parler and everything in between. Now, you can research everything that I presented here. All of it is now in the public domain and fully documented, all of it. There is so much more to the story that can't be presented because of space and time, but I'll say this. When you do your research, you'll see the names of political figures, organizations, and companies that are currently in play, not only in this country, but all around the world. Now, can Parler be nothing but an extension of the Cambridge Analytica business model? Breitbart News Network? Emerdata? I don't know. But there is one person that seems to be at the center of it all. Rebecca Mercer. So I'll ask you once again, do you remember how outraged you were to find out about Cambridge Analytica? How outraged were you? You were angry. Well, if you are a Parler user, how do you feel that your new platform was founded, funded, owned, and paid for by a founder of Cambridge? Now, go and post, comment, and play a part in the mind control game that is the new social media network. Seriously. Rebecca Mercer owns Emerdata, a data collection company, shareholder in Breitbart News Network, and is the founder and funder of Parler. So I'll say it again. What could go wrong? She no longer has to buy or sell your data or chase it down because she already owns it and can share it with any of her companies or her friends. Now, if the original Parler marketing was honest and transparent with, I'll quote here, the founders of Cambridge Analytica announce a new social media platform. Come join us over on Parler. We won't sell your data. We promise. We'll just share it with our friends for free. Yeah. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, right here, Dave Schrader, host of the Holzer Files, and of course, Darkness Radio. All of that and much more tonight. And tomorrow night, Rick Delano joins us. We're going to talk about his new film, The End of Quantum Reality. Wednesday night, Stephen Bassett. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple enough. And I'll be right back with our guest, Dave Schrader. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a Boulder Cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Permanent industrial glue impossible to remove? Not anymore, because Handyman Formula by D-Bond is a patented chemical adhesive remover. It's used in the building and home maintenance industry, but now it's available for your home use, for your DIY projects. Unglue stickers, silicone rubber, labels, price tags, flex tape, weather stripping, carpet glue, wood glue, liquid nails, even 3M 5200. And it dissolves graffiti. Yeah, graffiti. Handyman Formula by D-Bond works, and it's safe to use on most surfaces. No need to call a professional. Don't get out the pliers and blowtorch. Just apply a little Handyman Formula by D-Bond and wait 90 seconds, then quickly and easily pull the items apart. Get unstuck. Visit dbondhandymanformula.com. That's dbondhandymanformula.com or call 561-575-4200. Handyman Formula by D-Bond.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader. Tomorrow night, right here, Rick Delano, his new hit film, The End of Quantum Reality. Wednesday night, Stephen Bassett. Thursday night, Fader Night, open lines all night long. But tonight, it's all about Dave Schrader. We're going to be talking about ghosts, the paranormal, and supernatural all night long, including Season 3 of the Holzer Files. And this week's very special episode that is airing Thursday night. We'll be talking about all of that. And, of course, he is the host of the long-running paranormal podcast, Darkness Radio, and is the host of the Holzer Files. He has lived a life immersed in the paranormal, from ghostly visitations to growing up in a haunted house. Bigfoot sightings and UFO encounters, they always find Dave. That's right. He is trying to understand his place in the universe and the afterlife. Dave, are you getting close?
Nowhere near, but I'm not in any hurry to figure out the afterlife just yet, Jimmy, because that means I'm probably a little bit closer than I want to be.
Well, you got that right. You know, I last night I was listening to one of Sean Carroll's, the physicist, one of his books, and he pointed out something I've talked about in the past, but it was really crazy. He's like, if you live to the age of 70, you got about 25,000 days on the planet. That's it. You've got 3 billion heartbeats. That's it. You know, how many of those heartbeats have you used up? You know, and I'm thinking about, I'm doing the math in my head, right? I'm like, I'm 57. Okay. 13 years. Man, my account's like,
right. Yeah. You're coming into the end of your billing cycle. That's for sure.
Man, I just wasn't digging it, man. I was like, wow.
I sit there and I face the same thing. You know, unfortunately, yesterday was the 4th anniversary of the passing of my mom, and she lived to be 70. My grandfather lived to be 70. I'm about to turn 53, and boy, that puts mortality in a weird range when you're a kid and you're thinking, wow, 30 years old sounds so old. 40, I can't even imagine. 50, are you kidding me? And now I'm staring down the barrel. I'm only 17 years away from 70. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I used to pose that question to my friends, and I did this like 20 years ago, you know, when I'm in my 30s, right? And I would go to my 30-year-old friends, and I'd say, okay, hey, all right, you live to the age of 70. Is that 25,000 days? Is that 250,000 days? Or is it 2.5 million days? And they would sit and think, oh, that's 2.5 million days, I think, right? 200. No, it's 25,000. And they were, what? Right? And they would start doing the math. You mean I've only got 15,000 days left? And it really puts it all into context. When you look at the eternity of the universe, right? It goes on forever. Our little spot here is very finite, and we need to make the best of it, don't we?
Nice way to put this in everybody's head before bed, Jimmy. Now they're all just going to lay there pondering their mortality. They'll be like, God, what? How many? If I make it to 70, that's only like 1,500 more days. That seems like way too short a time. Right. Wait a minute. How does that work?
Make it count, man. That's all right. I can say.
That's all you can do.
Make it count. Now, listen, I want to say this really quick, Dave. You and I have a great relationship, and I love having you on the show or me on your show. We always have a great conversation. But the audience responding to you coming on the show tonight and the excitement that is out there, man, I just got to thank you for that. You're the very best, and you run with integrity, and it resonates throughout the community. So, thank you for that. Thank you for being who you are. All right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind, and I appreciate you bringing me on. I just hit you up the other day. This episode coming up means a lot to me, and I wanted to try to make sure that we present it and get it out to the biggest, broadest base as I could, and you're always at the top of my list to get out there and try to make sure that people are aware of stuff. So thanks for giving me that platform tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I bounced Graham Hancock tonight and rescheduled him for a couple of weeks to get you on the show.
Thank you.
So you are that important to me.
That explains why Hancock sent me a picture of himself flipping me off. I don't know.
I bet he did. Now, before we get started here, I wanted to kind of backpedal a little bit because we just came off of Halloween, and as you know, I went down to investigate the Queen Mary, and I had a couple of pretty incredible things that happened down there. But as I walked away that night, and I'm getting into my car, the only thing I've got Rita on the phone, and she goes, "Well, how'd it go?" I said, "That boat is haunted." I'm just telling you right now. How many times have you done investigations at the Queen Mary?
Boy, I think we did over a dozen. It was between 12 and 15 times that I did investigations, and that was with the Broad Darkness radio events. We were doing 2 or 3 there a year for a number of years. And then I would also go there with smaller groups of friends to investigate, and Erica Frost and Bill Murphy and a few other people that would get me into places that normally would not be available. And I don't think I've ever been there where there hasn't been really weird things taking place. We went, my first event, I was supposed to have Peter James join us. I just had him on our radio show, and he was a delight, and we hit it off, and he was excited to be a part of it. And then unfortunately he passed away just like a month or two before the event. And I got there a few days early, and I went investigating with Erica Frost, who is the medium on board the ship, and Bill Murphy, a paranormal investigator from Fact or Faked and a documentarian from ghosttowns.tv that's done a bunch of paranormal programming. And we were down in the hull of the ship. We were just kind of talking, and I started discussing the fact that I really wished Peter could have been here. I really wish I could have met him. And not 10, 15 seconds later, Jimmy, you start hearing this kind of,
oh man,
this almost Darth Vader-y, like something trying to grasp a breath. And unfortunately, Peter had lost, I don't know if it was emphysema or what, but he was having a lot of trouble breathing at the end, and his life had been turned upside down. And we all just stopped, and we couldn't we'd go over to one corner where we swore we could hear this breathing coming from, and then it would be over on the other side. But I really felt like Peter James was there with us, and we were all hearing this breathing, this communication. And that was kind of one of my first introductions to just how crazy this place was. And then, for years we just had off the charts activity of Jackie the Ghost, and the spirits down in the engine room, and the gentleman that was crushed in the door. And it was stunning. And I'm really excited. Before you guys went in for the big Halloween program, we got to go in and film an episode, or I think it's going to be our season finale, of Holzer Files on Travel Channel. And we were the first team to ever get full access to the ship with no employees, no guests, nothing. And we went in there, and it had such a different vibe than it had ever had for me before. And it was really dark and weird to be aboard that ship with no lifeblood of humanity kind of roaming those halls and in the bars and in the restaurants. It was off-putting, to say the least.
Now, I want to say this before I get to my first point. I've got a very direct question to ask you, but that ship is bleeping beautiful, right? Right? You hear about it, you see things in movies and all, but you get on board and you see it, every corner, every wall, every doorway, every room, everything is majestic and beautiful and artistic and aesthetic. It's just incredible, isn't it?
It is. I think, if I remember correctly, what the Commodore told me, I think there's like the wood paneling throughout the ship. There's some of the wood is from trees that no longer exist.
Sure, I can believe that.
That have been they're now extinct wood, and that's this part of the story. But I mean, you realize all the things. This was a luxury liner, and we kind of break it down with the Commodore. This ship had this great idea behind it, and they got all excited and they got ready to make it, and then it sat there kind of unfinished, and then it got finished, and then it was put into call as a luxury liner, and then it got docked and became the Gray Ghost, became this warship, and then it became this transport unit for wartime brides and their families and children, and then it became a luxury liner again, and then found its way into Long Beach port, where it docked and was in 1967 then turned into the hotel and the resort that it is now. And it's had a long, interesting life, and really this COVID crisis is the first time there hasn't been activity aboard that ship since it was built.
Yeah, it was incredible for me to walk down and really appreciate the size and the beauty of it. It's just an incredible ship. Now, you mentioned the breathing, and now this is where I want you to put your professional investigator hat on, because for me, this was my first time experiencing, this type of investigation. And to have the things happen that did, I am so appreciative of the moment that, I could have walked away and had nothing to experience. But I had this voice that we all heard in the Winston Churchill suite, and it was a female's voice. But this is the thing about the voice. It didn't come from a mouth. And it seemed like it came from, because you just mentioned this, it seemed like it came from everywhere. I want to say it came from my right. Tony Rathman thought that it came from behind him. I really wasn't sure, but it felt like it came in that direction. But it also felt like, the word I want to use is like telepathy. Right? Am I even saying that right? Because it's not coming from a mouth. Right?
Right, but that's what telepathy is it's this exchange of energy. It's this message transmitted from one being to another without the spoken word. So yeah, you were getting a sense of telepathy.
Is that the way that it happens with you when you hear these voices? We're not talking about EVPs, everybody. We're talking about loud.
DVP is what it's called, direct voice phenomena, where you don't have to record it and listen back. You actually hear the voices out loud.
And do you have the same experience where it seems to envelop you? It's really not from, you can't pinpoint it?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you start to think, well, how come only a few of us heard it and others didn't? Is there really something to the frequency to which these spirits are speaking? And it could explain why Jimmy Church and Dave Schrader could be standing side by side and I hear "get out" and you hear nothing, or you hear breathing or something and I can't. Are we just kind of synced into that frequency of the other side, and that they're able to communicate with us? Are they resonating at the same level we are?
Can you how do I say this? When you hear it live and then you go back and you review the videotape, maybe audio, digital recorder. I said videotape, the digital video. I just aged myself. Do you normally hear the same things, or is it sometimes even different then?
Well, in this, we get some strange phenomena like we got last week on the episode where we visited Surratt Tavern in Maryland, this location where John Wilkes Booth rode to after assassinating President Lincoln. Cindy captures this kind of low. We're standing side by side. We both have our recorders out in front of us, and you hear on her recorder, you hear this kind of, and nothing on my recorder. And they're right next to each other during that EVP session. So I can't explain why one recorder will pick it up, the others won't. I had a really strange example at Rolling Hills Asylum. We were there with Mark and Debbie Constantino, the EVP experts, who sadly we lost 5 years ago, and my friend Susan. And Susan was running the EVP session. She was asking questions, and we were all sitting in this little circle. And, we all had our recorders out in front of us, almost, touching each other. And Susan says, "Is this the room where the little boy likes to come play?" And we play back her EVP and you hear her voice and she's asking the questions, and then you hear her voice clearly say, "Is this the room where the little boy likes to come play?" And Mark and Debbie play back their recorders, and on Mark's recorder, you clearly hear Susan say, "Is this the room where the little girl likes to play?" So her voice had been manipulated, and it was a totally different question or boy or girl, and you could very clearly hear it was girl she asked on his recorder, boy on theirs. I don't know what their capability is of being able to manipulate these frequencies and make themselves heard, or what, obviously there's no vocal cords as a spirit. So they're working the air, they're working the vibration of our eardrums, of the audio recorders, are impressing the magnetic resonance onto it. That's our theories, right? I can't say specifically how it's being done or why it's being done, but it's pretty remarkable. And we get some bizarre activity around each other. We've heard DVP where our recorder got nothing, not one lick of audio that you could hear on it.
Now, how do you approach your questions? Do you put your questions into the period where you're talking about 1870, put yourself in the period, or do you put yourself in the modern context where you're just having a conversation about today? How do you approach it?
verily doth come forth and speaketh with us, right? I mean, we're going to all sound like idiots doing that, and it would be embarrassing. I think, if the spirits are there, they are kind of aware as well and get the concept of what we're discussing. So there have been times where I've, when I was in Savannah, Georgia, I was doing an investigation, and this team wanted to show Darkness Dave how a professional team investigates. And they went in and they were they were great people, very nice, very sweet people, but they were very demanding of the spirits. But they weren't getting any response. They're like, I don't know what's happening. I don't understand why they're not responding. And I said, well, first of all, we're in this old antebellum mansion that was overtaken by the North and used as a stronghold for a short time. This family was kind of disenfranchised from their own home. And you come in and you're all, where are you? Why are you here? And I turned around and I just want to thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Blossom, for allowing us into your home. It's beautiful. I can see why you would want to stay here. But I'm curious as to why you try to frighten some of these people. And I come with love and respect, and I just want to understand your story so we can tell it and tell it right. And are you here with us? And we played back the recording, and this voice goes, yes, go on. And all of a sudden we got a response, and it was having this kindness. And my friend Susan, I told you about, she's really good. She almost talks to ghosts like a puppy. I joke with her because she's so loving. And she works with like a K2 meter and an audio recorder. And she loves watching the lights bounce on the K2 meter as these spirits respond. And then kind of the recording is secondary to her. And we were at this mansion in Canada that they used for the X-Men's mansion and has been used in many movies. And everybody was in all the hot spots, and she was tired of being in the crowd. So she went into the cafeteria with her friend, and they started doing an EVP session. And she's like, can you light up this machine? Just come a little closer. Oh, look at that. That is so great. Thank you so much. And she's so loving and kind. And then she goes, she does her deal. And at the end, she goes, I know this took so much energy. Thank you. It has been such a pleasure to speak with you. And she plays back the EVP, and you hear this male's voice go, the pleasure was all mine.
Are you referring to the X-Men mansion, the one with the Picard and the giant brain computer?
Yes.
Oh, that place is ginormous, man.
Yeah, the Canadian, it's a Canadian place, and it's part of I think the school, one of the colleges, universities owns it, but they would allow these ghost hunts. And here she's talking very kindly and politely, and she's getting direct responses from this man. And then he tells her, no, the pleasure was all mine. And it was just the two of them in that room, two women. There was no male voice to be heard. I wasn't there. I just heard the aftermath when she said, you've got to hear this EVP.
Right. And I would think, I'm no expert, but I would think that approach is better than provoking or a negative, angry approach to trying to make contact in an investigation.
Yeah, I mean, some people, Zach Baggins has taken a lot of heat over the years for being provocative and kind of challenging the spirits. But people forget that a lot of the places they're going are places where he's coming into contact with killers and convicts, and he's not showing them respect in the normal sense. He's trying to act as though he's a guard. He's trying to put himself into that mindset of, you want to beat people up. You want to push the woman down and say, why don't you come push me? So he's challenging, A, to see if there's really any energy there.
Right.
B, to see if they do have this ability to do anything like these people are claiming. And so he's, I understand both sides of this, and I've challenged spirits at points, and I've been very kind to spirits. And I will be honest, mostly when I'm kind is when I get the best responses. Although there's an episode coming up this season where I get one of the weirdest EVPs. I was up in the attic of this location, and I start to try to do a clearing prayer, and something starts making a lot of noise on the other side of the attic, and I go over there, and I turn my recorder back on, pause, and then I start to talk, and I'm like, are you trying to intimidate me or scare me out of here? That's not going to work. And when I play back the recorder, before I even start asking my next set of questions or speaking to the spirit, this very strong voice comes in and asks me to stop what I'm trying to do.
Did you see, it was posted up on Twitter, I think yesterday. Today's Monday. It was yesterday for football. It was a live feed from these three guys watching a football game. It's their network, right? And that's what they do. I think it's a betting site or something. I could be wrong, but it's just their live feed. One guy's lying on the ground. Two guys are sitting on the couch watching the football game. You can hear the football game. They're talking about the football game. And then like 6 feet in front of them, they have this giant coffee table with pizzas on it and chips and things. And this fork flips on the plate. Did you see that video? It was yesterday.
I haven't seen it. No.
It's crazy. And this is the thing. Because the video, it's a live feed, right? And you hear and see this fork blip, do this flip feet away from them. And it's in the middle of the table all by itself. And one of them is like, man, did you see that? Right? And that guy, and the fork flipped. And I think the guy on the ground didn't even react. He's still watching the football game. I don't even think he heard it. But the other guy goes, man, it's like ghost hunters. All right, makes this comment. But you didn't see the video. It's.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Dude, it's Class A.
Crazy.
Class A. Whoever posted that video in Twitter, if you're listening right now, repost it and hit Dave. What do you hit? What do you pop up first in Twitter? Darkness Radio?
Yeah, I'm at Darkness Radio.
Okay, and somebody post that link up and get Dave in on that. Let's take our break right here. And what a great show. I'm really looking forward to our conversation tonight. We're going to specifically, when we come back from the break, talk about an episode that's going to air this Thursday. What time and where, Dave?
Travel Channel this Thursday. It is 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, 9 p.m. Central. You can check local listings and times in your area. But this episode, I promise, is going to blow people's minds. And you got a chance to watch it. We'll talk about it.
I certainly did. We'll talk about all of that right after the break. Tonight, Dave Schrader is here. We're talking about Season 3 of the Holzer Files. And again, when we come back, we're going to talk about this very special episode that is going to air. No spoilers. You're not going to get that from us, but I have seen it. We'll be right back after this short break. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, and you can follow Dave at Darkness. Is Darkness Radio, Dave?
Yes, just at Darkness Radio.
At Darkness Radio. I've got it up right here in Twitter. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright-Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader. That's right. Talking about the Holzer Files, Season 3, everybody. And I enjoy this show so much. And it's Dave and it's crew. But there's something else going on here. And it's this. The show is based on. I should let Dave tell the story. Actually,
no problem.
But it's based on. It's called Holzer Files for a reason, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Hans Holzer, one of the preeminent paranormal investigators in America. Actually, he's an Austrian who lived in America, and he was deeply entrenched in the paranormal field. He began his career, as a matter of fact, later on the season, we go to Rockland County, the site of his first investigation, as a follow-up to that in one of the files. But he investigated thousands of cases, wrote over 145 books on all aspects of ghosts, aliens, psychic phenomena, witches, you name it, this guy was into it. And he really took it to a different level. We get a chance on the Holzer Files because of his daughter Alexandra, and with her help and blessing on every episode, we get to reopen a case, and we have the original video footage, the original 16 millimeter footage or 8 millimeter footage that he shot. We have original audio recordings, his handwritten notes. So we really get to look at these cases, and he took copious amounts of notes. And we get to go back in and re-examine these cases from a 21st century perspective with equipment that wasn't around 60, 50, 40 years ago when he was doing this, and continue this legacy. The true star of this show is the files and the history, the haunted history, and getting it right, which is so important for Dr. Holzer, his family, and for the team.
Now,
so I'm really pleased to be a part of it.
And that would say to me, you've got a potential 10-season run then.
Probably 25 seasons.
Right.
And here's why, because there are cases like we examine one later on this season that Dr. Holzer heard about these ghost stories, went to the house. The homeowner was reticent at that time to let him in. The family actually saw our season 1, and they decided to open their doors and allow us to come back and do the examination Dr. Holzer was denied 40, 50 years ago. So there are cases that he investigated himself. There are some that he reported on. There are some he tried to get into and could not. And there are cases in his waning years that people were still sending him that, when he was 80, 85, they're begging him to come out and he couldn't get to. So we're going to be examining all those types of cases. So there's literally, we could go probably 20 to 25 seasons and still have things to look at.
Now, today, we've got K2 meters, E meters, we've got FLIR, night vision, radar, LiDAR, night vision,
right?
Digital recorders, lasers, laser grids, and anything else, photon cameras, right? And we've got all of this technology today.
Mm-hmm.
What did he use? What was in his arsenal that long ago?
Well, he developed the Holzer method. He really brought in a camera, an audio recorder, a pen and paper, and then his tool of choice was a trance medium. And he worked with, Ethel Myers, who was a legend, Dame Sybil Leek. He worked with some of these major trance mediums. And what a trance medium is, Jimmy, is they go deep. They allow the spirits into them to speak through the medium. And he would record these, and you hear these genteel voices, and Dame Sybil, she's very elegant in the way she speaks, and then she'll go into this trance, and then you hear these voices coming out of her. And Hans Holzer is always very stoic and walking, the spirit through what's going on to them and why they need to move on. And it's really amazing to hear these accounts from their mouths, get to hear the original recordings, and we've saved them from disintegrating or being lost. And that's been a big, important aspect to the Holzer family and to us, so that this man's work doesn't go forgotten and unnoticed. Hopefully he'll get the accolades he deserves, because he was truly a pioneer in this field in the United States.
How many investigations did he get a chance to record?
I think we've got footage and recordings from well over 500 or 600 cases.
Oh, holy crap. Oh, I didn't
That's
know
what
that.
I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah. He was on the go constantly.
Oh.
And we've got so many things. And some of the cases he would go back to 2 or 3 times, like the case that we cover this week at Franklin Castle.
Which brings me, that's a nice segue. Well done. You're a professional. Well played, Dave. Because the recordings of this investigation are the center of the show this week. Take us through that. Where did you guys go?
Well, we went to Franklin Castle in Cleveland, Ohio. And for people that aren't familiar with this, Hans Holzer visited the Franklin Castle many times. And each time he experienced these really horrible technical difficulties. Now, mind you, he'd gone on hundreds of investigations, but he used to go in with this reel-to-reel tape recorder. And you'll get to hear some of these actual recordings on the upcoming episode, and you can hear how badly they're distorting. There's something interfering with it. It gets choppy, and it frustrated the hell out of him. So he kept going back with the invitation of the family. And the third time, something very unusual happens. The woman who had invited them in suddenly has this change of heart and becomes very aggressive towards Dr. Holzer. And on the third time, he had brought a medium to try to do this trance mediumship. And he ends up being kind of thrown out of the house. And we wanted to understand why. So we talked to Dee Romano, one of the family members, and we actually talked to her and came to some really interesting conclusions, some things that won't appear on the episode because although it's fascinating, it deters from the actual story we were there to investigate, which was the haunting. And, it's just a bizarre case, but Hannes Tiedemann had helped to build this place for his family, and it changed hands many times. There was tragedy in his family over and over, and it was really kind of heartbreaking. And we believe that there are spirits that coexist but can't communicate with one another. It's like they're time locked in their own era, and are lost. And this, I keep telling people, this is one of the most powerful episodes I've been a part of. And you saw that in the episode. I get very emotional. This was sprung on me when I was sitting talking to the historian about this. I knew the case. I knew there was a young girl who died. I didn't know why. And she springs on me the fact that this young girl had passed away from complications due to diabetes. And she's telling me this on the 2nd anniversary of the date I almost lost my daughter to complications of diabetes. I had to rush her into the hospital and spend one of the most agonizing 24 hours of my life, as the doctor said, we don't know if she's going to come back. And it was just a waiting game. And thankfully, with all the prayers of our Darkness Radio audience and fans around the world, they pulled together. I really do give a lot of credit to prayer and intention, because my daughter came out of it unscathed. We're a lot more diligent on all of her work, but all of a sudden I'm just kind of hit with this wall of emotion. I had to leave production a few times during the filming of the episodes because I would just start bawling. It was just, especially when I'd hear something or encounter something, it was so real to me. And then I couldn't, this little girl's looking for her mommy and daddy, and her mommy and daddy are looking for her, and they're there, but they're not together. And it was just heart-wrenching to me. And, we try a couple of interesting experiments. Cindy breaks out a new skill on this episode that you haven't seen her utilize before. And we just had, it was such an interesting history and story. And this Hannes Tiedemann had many stories told about him and many legends that grew in the local history. And we dig deep through the history books to try to uncover what's fact and what's fiction. And I think that, it's going to upset some people. And to others, it's going to be no surprise what we're able to uncover. And I will see this. Now, you got to watch the episode, Jim.
I did. And I don't know if there's a zone I can't go into. I'm not talking about spoilers, of course. I'm talking about your daughter. Can we talk about that? Just please, touch upon it? Okay, what's your daughter's name?
My daughter's name is Ripley.
Okay, so I wanted you to say it. I didn't want to say it.
Sure. No, I appreciate it.
And get ahead of my skis here when I shouldn't have. Okay, so Ripley is Ripley. If you're listening, or if you're going to listen later, let me tell you something. You're very cool, very courageous, and your feet are on the ground. Don't change. All right, I'm just going to say that because her participation in this, I mean, dude. Right. Yeah. And I'm a dad. I'm a dad of 2 daughters, by the way, and you go through that and how you presented it. Was it easy for you to make the decision? I guess that's the honest question, because have you pulled your family in like this before? And in this case, we're talking about another little girl that is in play here.
Well, I've never really incorporated my family into my work. My girls have gone on a few investigations with me at places I feel safe with them, and we're very cautious how we proceed. But my 2 girls are probably, I have 4 daughters. 2 of them are active with me and like to do these things. My other adult daughter loves the paranormal, loves our show and Darkness Radio, but she's not a ghost hunter. She doesn't go out and, I'm sure she'd love to. She's just tied to being a mom and family person and trying to work her own life. So we haven't had a chance to investigate together. But I thought this through, and I'm like, this little girl's spirit only made herself known to the children of this house. And here you've got this 52-year-old man, and, is she going to communicate with me? And I thought, well, if there is a familiarity, if there is a resonance, it would probably be with my daughter. And I asked her, I told her the story, and I said, what would you think about participating long distance and be a part of this investigation in a very brief way for me? And she said, can I think about it, Dad? And I said, yeah. And she called me back a little bit later and she said, okay, I made something for you. And she sent it over for me to examine, and I liked it and ended up using it in the episode. And, it was something I believe is what made the communication so successful for us on this episode. And, not giving spoilers away, but I'm going to be honest. I think we get one of the best pieces of video evidence anybody's ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And everybody will just have to wait for Thursday to see that. Now let's back up. Let's back up. And again, Ripley, 2 thumbs up. That was just awesome, man. I was on the edge of my seat. Okay. There is a scene. Again, everybody, there are no spoilers here. But I can ask the strategic question, which is this. There is a scene. First off, this house is big. It's called Castle for a reason.
Yeah.
How many stories? 3 stories? 3.5?
I can't even remember. It might even be 4 stories.
It might be 4. Yeah.
With the basement level and then 3 going up, I believe.
Right. So it's a big place, and it's very castle-ish. But there is a scene where Cindy's sitting there with her Sharpie. She's going to town, and she's doing her thing, and Shane is sitting there. You're sitting there, and friggin' footsteps, man. Right? From upstairs. Now, I want to talk about this for a second, because it didn't happen once, it didn't happen twice, and it wasn't like a knock. It's footsteps in this giant house, and you guys are in there alone, and there's nobody above you, and that is like the most audible thing where there's no question about what is going on, right? Did your heart leap out of your chest? I'm watching the 3 of you react, but then it happened again. Right.
Yeah.
And
you start to wonder, am I hallucinating this? Did we really hear that? Maybe it's the board settling and then you hear walking again. So yeah, there's always that kind of holy beep minute when you first are like, wait, what's going on here? But you've got to follow it through, see what is to be seen,
Now, okay. Again, I'm going to be repeating myself. No spoilers here. But, of course, you guys do what you got to do, which is friggin' hightail it up the stairs, right?
Right.
What? And you and the camera people are there and following, and I'm on the edge of my seat. But as you're going up the stairs, what are you expecting to see? Are you hoping for the sound guy up there having a smoke break? Is that what you're hoping for? or
it's a mixed bag, because part of it is you want to have this holy grail moment.
Right.
But on the other hand, you're like, I'm about to round the corner and I don't know what I'm about to see.
Exactly.
And I will say, honestly, this season, there are 2 episodes where I literally get scared backwards. I don't even know how else to explain it. It totally took me off guard. And that's, rare, because in a lot of these instances, I'm there because it's haunted. But you kind of like, your mind tries to process things and you try to understand things. And then when you see something, sometimes it's so startling. So all of these armchair quarterbacks on Friday morning that watch a show, they're like, oh, I can't believe they were scared. What about you? They shouldn't even do this. I would never. You're so full of crap. It's unbelievable. When you're in a dark place and something bum rushes you, or you feel something touch you and you don't react, then you're probably already dead yourself.
Sure.
So, we're human. And, I try to emulate Dr. Holzer. I try to remain calm, put his back into play. But you get unnerved. You're in a scary place. You're in horror stories about these ghosts and what they went through. And you don't know what you're up against, and you can't see it. And is it really the ghost of a child, or is it a demon licking its lips, taunting you in? We don't know.
When this show's not about me, but let me say this, everybody. When I heard that door slam on the Queen Mary, and I get up and have a cameraman follow me back there, and I'm doing the doofus move, opening up doors and taking a peek in. Honestly, I don't know if I would do it that way again.
And in the back of your head, you're hearing,
I know. Do I really? I'm opening up the door and peeking in with the camera guy. Do I really want to see what is possible? What am I setting myself up for? But I guess adrenaline was like, I've got to go figure that out. But that's a pretty crazy move to just go and do that like you guys did, just running up the stairs, not knowing. Dude, it could have been Jason, Friday the 13th. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, now.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I'm going to tell you this too. When this nasty virus lifts and we can travel safely around, I'm going to come out to California. I know 2 locations that are willing to let me in. You and I are going to go in and investigate, the 2 of us.
Let's go. Let's go.
And then we'll jump back out and do your show live in California and do it right after we investigate, so we can tell people the next day exactly what happened and still be high on the adrenaline or disappointed that nothing actually occurred.
I'm so down for it. And you're only making the offer because you know I'm a professional now. So, you know, I'm in the club.
Now you've got your feet wet. You gotta come back for more. It's a drug.
It's crazy, man. I had such a good time doing it. Now, before we head to the break, okay, with all of these tapes from Hans Holzer, was he documenting, you know, the seances and the sessions that he was doing, or was he also looking for EVPs?
No, he wasn't really. That's the funny thing. I mean, I don't want to give something away, but we uncover something in his original recordings that he missed. And you hear it in this episode. So, you know, again, I think he might have just given up on listening to it because it was so irritating, but we comb through every minute because is there a sign? Is there a clue that we need that could open up the door to the next part of the evolution of this investigation? So he was there more to document everything that was said, so that when he'd write his books, he could transcribe what the medium said, what he said, how they provoked the spirits into, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but provoked them to speak with him and what they had to share.
Because of what is revealed, and it's absolutely startling, by the way, this Thursday, are you thinking about going back and listening a little more closely to his tapes to see if he did capture something?
You know, here's the deal. We've got a great team behind us. So you see Gabe Roth, Alexandra Holzer, they comb through a lot of that audio. Then we have producers behind the scenes listening to it intently, because trust me, they would love to find things that we could ping off of. So they're all listening. Everybody's doing their due diligence for every episode. And then, you know, Shane and I will poke our nose in from time to time to try to listen and give them a fresh set of ears or a fresh set of eyes on something to say, hey, you know, or they'll send something to us and say, Dave, what do you make of this? And I'll say, no, that's the sound of Hans zipping his jacket up. And it was just in correspondence with them asking a question. And, you know, are you here? Is the zip sound of zzz going up. So then, oh yeah, I can hear that now. And we'll chat through things like that. But it's, you know, it's a very simpatico relationship we have with production, and we really do love each other like a family. Everybody involved in the show is important to me, and I'm really pleased to be a part of this.
Yeah, Shane is such a professional. I got about 5 minutes before the break, so I'm going to give you an open floor to talk about Shane for a second. In that, he's professional, he's cool, right? He's pretty manly.
Yep.
But he's a magnet for stuff.
Well, you know,
I mean, what is up with that?
Because and this is why we love Shane. A lot, you know, people abuse him online. Most people love him. I'm going to be honest with you. But there, you know, you get the people that are like, oh, I would never jump. Maybe you need to replace him. He's the weak link, and he's really not. You know, I describe the show this way: Alexandra is the voice of her father. She is tying the old cases to the new cases, giving us the insights that her father shared with her. As she combs through the notes, sharing what her father had to see and say. Gabe finds these files, and he's an integral part, and then brings them to her. She combs through them to educate herself on the files so she can speak for her father. Then Cindy does something that none of us can do. Well, I shouldn't say that. Alexandra is a very proficient medium as well. She's an empath and a medium. But Cindy, out of our working team on the investigations, Cindy does something that Shane and I cannot really do, which is tap in whenever. And then I'm kind of the Tom Brokaw, right? I'm the one asking the questions, the hard questions, trying to push the historians and the experiencers as far as I can to get as much from them that could unlock this case. And then Shane is really that heart of the show. He is the connection between you, the audience, and us as the investigators. And I think because he loves this with such passion and he loves doing what he does, but he does get unnerved and things do pick on him. I think that's because he is the reluctant one of the group. He is the one that's, you can see physically when I say, okay, Shane, into the basement, and he goes, oh, man.
Right.
Now, listen, if you're a ghost, who are you going to have fun with? The stoic 50-year-old guy with the leather jacket who thinks he's a badass and Shaft, or the medium who can already see and sense you? Or are you going to mess with the kid who's a little jumpy, right? I can tell you who my target would be if I was a ghost. So I think that he's open. He goes in with an open heart and love and respect, and he asks and he receives. He gets these moments of communication. And I think that they feed on that energy, that kind of kinetic, chaotic energy he has of wanting there to be an answer, but terrified that he might get one.
And I think that you have to be aware of yourself physically and your surroundings. Something that I wasn't aware of aboard the Queen Mary. I was too focused on other things, being, new to an investigation. But Shane is cognizant of the atmosphere physically where his body is at, and he's able to recognize these very subtle changes that may be happening, in the ether, in the atmosphere around you. And that's why he reacts, because he's sensitive to it, right?
Right. He is. And he's a father. He's a husband, he's a brother, he's a son, he's all these connections. So he can relate, and he's very sweet and empathic in that sense. And maybe I shouldn't say empathic, but empathetic in those instances. And I will mention this, and he's been kind enough to let me joke with him a little bit about this, but some of the reasons I send him into these crappy places isn't because I'm trying to punish him. It's A, because he gets great results, but B, a lot of these places are built 100, 200 years ago, and they were built for people that are 5 feet tall. And I'm 6 feet, 6'1" in my boots. Mm-hmm. And, I can't stand comfortably in an attic or in the crawl space or in the basement. He can. And you see that in our last week's episode when we're up in the attic. I'm kind of hunched and he's standing with a lot of headroom. So I send him to those places not as a punishment, but because he can get in them and get out of them quickly. Whereas something that bothers me up there, I'm screwed. If I try to get out, I'm probably going to jump up and knock myself out on a plank of wood, which I'm sure people would love to see. But Shane is great. And he's tied in with all these people trying to bring new experiments, trying to see what we can do to push the envelope and investigate and bring new tools.
Let's take our break right here, Dave. You stay right there. I want to mention to everybody that at the beginning of the show tonight, I talked about data collection. Talked about it very specifically, and I want everybody to know that last year, websites shared over 100 trillion pieces of personal data. This is data taken on users of various websites, like the one that you are on right now, listening to me. I don't like being spied on by advertisers. I don't like being spied on by anybody. I don't want anybody collecting my data and selling it and using it. All right. Now, if you want to browse the internet anonymously and securely like I do, I want you to visit virtualshield.com fade to black. Right? That's virtualshield.com/fade to black. Or you can click on the link in the video description box below. It's right there. And we have links over at jimmychurchradio.com. Do it. And you can get Virtual Shield VPN for free today. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader, the Holzer Files. We will be back after this short break, and we are going to continue our discussion about the very special episode that is going to air this Thursday on the Travel Channel. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More Dave Schrader after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio.
you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Old New England Soap is committed to producing the highest quality organic and goat milk soaps available anywhere. We take pride in using the purest ingredients and avoiding the typical shortcuts used by other soap makers. Because goat milk is what feeds your skin, we have formulated our soap to use the maximum amount of goat milk possible, 38%, more than double any other brand. Not because it's easy, but because our soap is always better. We are proud to offer you what we consider to be truly premium quality handmade soaps. What's more, our soap does not contain GMO ingredients, pesticides, sulfates, dyes, artificial colors, alcohol, or petroleum products. Try our new shampoo bar and pooch soap, and be sure to see all of the great scented woodwick soy candles that burn soot-free for up to 100 hours. Right now, save 15% on your order and get free shipping on orders over $45. Buy now at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. Not available in stores. oldnesoap.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
Including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader, talking about the Holzer Files in a very special episode that is going to air this Thursday on the Travel Channel. Tomorrow night, Rick Delano is here. We're going to talk about his new hit film, It Is Amazing, The End of Quantum Reality. And then Wednesday night, Stephen Bassett. Back to Darkness Dave. Dave, truly, I mean, without question, the craziest time in the history of the world, right? We're living through it right now, 2020. Yeah. Is this, how do I say this? I don't want to say a catalyst to paranormal activity, but is paranormal activity amplified because of the tension that is on the planet right now?
You know, it's hard to say what came first, the chicken or the egg. You know, I think we went in to re-examine some of these episodes, and a lot of these places have been closed for 3 to 4 months because of COVID, and their spirits were not getting the attention they once did. They weren't getting the attention. They weren't getting the affection or the fear that they were looking for. And when we went in, it was like they were hungry. They let us know they were there. They made themselves very present to us. There's something going on in the world. I can't put my finger on exactly. I know that I've been hearing a lot of things behind the scenes. I think that we're on the precipice of a global change. And I know I'm sounding very cryptic, and I don't mean to be, and I'm sure it's irritating and very vague book, but I don't have enough answers to give solid responses to go any further. But I think that our little experiment here on Earth is not going the way the creator or creators believed it should. And I wouldn't be surprised if things get shaken up even further.
Okay, not to be, yeah, right, exactly. Not to be cryptic, right. But you're not surprising anybody by suggesting this right now. I don't think anything would come as a surprise. You know, I
at this point, no. I think that's why this is the year that there's been more disclosure than ever. They've gotten amazing photographs of the Loch Ness Monster. More and more people are having paranormal experiences. You know, so there's something awakening.
I agree. And which takes me to another nice segue that was tossed to me from Dave Schrader. So well done. Is Cindy. I want to let's talk about her for a second. She seems to, her on-off switch is broken. Right? It's right? I'm not wrong.
No, she's actually very proficient at shutting down. But when she gets into that mindset, it comes flooding in. She gets... You know, it's like making the sausage. You're cramming all this meat in and grinding it through this little hole at the end, and she's trying to make sense of it. And I give her a lot of credit, Jimmy, because we'll go into locations that have 200 years of history, and we're asking to ping one story, right? That's like asking to reach into the piano blindly and pluck just the one key,
right?
The one string without bumping any others, and it's really hard to do, and a lot of it bleeds through, and she has to sift through that crap to get to what is relevant to the story we're there to investigate.
Now, how difficult is it to have two other investigators with you, like Shane and Cindy, because you all three have different approaches. You all three have different maybe questions that you want to ask or approach things from a different angle. I found that when I was doing my investigation, when you have two or three people in the room, trying to communicate, it's three different ideas, three different approaches to it. Does that confuse the spirits? Should somebody take the lead, if you know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so, because that's why we'll do separate investigations to areas that kind of call to us. You know, in each episode, we start off together and then we'll break up, because if Cindy's feeling pulled to a specific area, I don't want to pollute her. And, you know, we all carry our own energy and our own baggage, and she's trying to tap in. It's already hard enough, and then she's got camera guy and Dave and Shane next to her, and she's now got to get through our crap too. So sometimes it's good to pull out and just allow everybody their breathing room,
which is my point. But that's exactly my point.
Right. And Shane is focused on the technology and seeing if things will trigger. Cindy's really chimed in on the actual spirit direct contact that is unseen. And then I, you know, still being kind of the investigator of this, you know, I try to go in Holzer wise. I try to use limited equipment, and I want to be in the moment. I know I've got cameras all over, so I'm not as worried about carrying a camera or equipment with me. I want my recorder. I want my, you know, I want my moment with, maybe if I've got one tool with me to try to work it, or I'll set up other tools in the room and see what we can uncover with that. But I really want to be in the moment, because I feel like when they feel you're distracted, they might not be willing to give you as much or make it their way known. And sometimes a spirit might be communicating with me that wouldn't communicate with Cindy or Shane. It's like being at a bar, right? You and I could be standing next to Josh Gates, and, you know, Josh is going to get attention, right? And then you will get attention from a different group of people than I will get attention. And I think that's what happens in the spirit realm. We're all kind of keyed into different elements, and we can bring these things to the investigation and hopefully connect with something that will want to respond back to us.
Let's be very clear. If you and I and Josh Gates are in a bar, you and I are not there.
I got to tell you a funny story. Do you know Johnny Hauser, who runs the Villisca Axe Murder House?
I know who he is. Yes.
Right. So I was not familiar with Johnny at this point in my career. It was like 10 years ago. We were at Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky, and Josh Gates and I had bumped into each other a couple of times, and we really have we've got a good brother relationship with one another where we feed off each other well. We like each other. And I was standing in the bar, and Gates walks over to me, and he's, Schrader, let me buy you a drink. So we're just standing there kind of wallflowering while everybody's all around us. And this young lady comes walking up, and she's like trembling, and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Josh Gates. She goes, Dave Schrader and Josh Gates. I can't believe you're my favorite radio guy, my favorite TV guy. The only thing that could make this better is if Johnny Hauser were here. And Josh and I just pause, and we give this slow look to each other like, what the hell is a Johnny Hauser? And she goes, can I get a picture with you? And we're like, sure. So she's posing with us. And all of a sudden squeals because in walks Johnny Hauser. Johnny runs the Villisca Axe Murder House. And she goes, oh my God, could we get Johnny in the picture? And Gates and I look at each other and we go, of course we can. It's Johnny Hauser. And we bring him in, and the three of us kind of connected at that moment and just had a good time. But it was fun to be in an environment for the first time where somebody was excited, that as equally excited to see me as they were for Josh Gates. So that's my one win, and I'll take it.
Okay. I'm going to tell my funny story.
Please.
It doesn't involve Josh Gates, but it's just as cool. So we're at a conference, and we're in the lounge. I've got the Fadernauts around me. It's loud. It's fun. We're drinking, and there's 100, 150 people in there. Right? It's all good. Okay. All right. You picking up what I'm putting down?
I'm there with you.
Okay. And then in walks Sean Stone, and Sean Stone walks in, and the place went silent. And I turn around, I'm like, I want to be that guy once. I just want to be, I want to know what that's like, and it was so funny. He walked up and started chatting, and the volume kind of came back. But for a moment there, it was like crazy town. I couldn't believe it. There's more to the story. I'll tell you that off of the air, but wow. Right? And how somebody can have that control, how quickly I became invisible. It was instantaneous. Now, okay, so back to this. There's one other element that I wanted to ask you about. Are you cognizant? I said cognizant twice in the same show about what you wear. And the reason why and I'm being serious, is if you're going to go do an investigation at a 1850s jail, are you going to think about what you're wearing? Are you gonna go in as a cowboy, or if you know what I mean? Do you?
Right. I haven't really trigger object myself up yet as dressing. I'm all for it. As a matter of fact, I'd love to do it. But like first season, we filmed most of it in really cold weather. So basically it was just trying to stay warm. This season we started in cold weather, had 3 months off, and came back to it in June. And, here I'm in a leather jacket and, jeans and a boots, and I'm boiling. So you'll see a lot of sweaty Dave in season 2. So ladies, sorry, I'm taken, but, yeah, we haven't geared up, to do that, but I would love to in season 3. I would love to, try to do some of that paranormal archaeology and maybe immerse myself a little bit more into it. I joke around because I wear a lot of dark, and I keep telling the producers I want to lighten up, and they're like, no. And I think they're being polite. They're saying black makes me look slimmer. But I said I want to start wearing more color, maybe even tie-dye. And they're like, Schrader, season 3, man. As a matter of fact, our executive producer, Jim Casey, sent me an audio clip from Hopper from Stranger Things. And they said, what excites you about season 3? He goes, I get to pick my own shirts this season. And he said, see, Schrader, it's not just you. Even Hopper had to wait till season 3. So we'll see. I like color. I wear a lot of darks because, again, I'm fat and I need to try to look a little slimmer on TV. So it would be probably easier to just only, eat 2 meals a day as opposed to 18 small meals. But well, let's just stick with the black clothes for that reason.
What do you think is the Holy Grail? Like in ufology, as you know, the Holy Grail is a daytime sighting.
I don't know that. I had my Holy Grail moment in Trout Lake, Washington, when I saw this craft fly over that I can't explain. That to me was my Holy Grail moment. And people always say, well, yeah, but you didn't document it. I don't need to, man. It was for me. This is my life. And all I'm worried about is me having as many amazing experiences as we talked about at the beginning of our interview. Live every day like it's your last, because maybe there's 1,500 days left. Maybe there's 5 hours left. I'm going to try to milk it for everything I can and enjoy it and be a part of those moments. And I want to have them for myself. So I think because I've always felt that way, that's why I've had a Bigfoot sighting when I was a kid, a UFO sighting as an adult, many ghost sightings. I try to put myself into that vein. I want to be there. I want to have these experiences. When we went to Stardust Ranch in Arizona, and across from the ranch is this big mountain range where UFOs are seen. And I asked, they put me up there alone. I asked if they would take my walkie-talkie and phone. I said, I want to be inaccessible to you guys. Because if they're watching, they're smarter than we are, and they're going to know if I can call for help. So I didn't have a flare gun. I didn't have my cell phone, and then they're like, Dave, well, aside from aliens, there are mountain lions and rattlesnakes up there.
Right.
Well, you have to go one way or another. If I have to go on a very popular Ghost Adventures TV show being mauled to death by a panther, I could think of worse ways to have it happen. So I went up there with that intention, and I got to see cool stuff. So I'm all for being in the moment and just experiencing it.
What's the Holy Grail in the paranormal world?
I think it's I honestly, and I know it sounds like I'm just tooting the horn. This episode coming up at Franklin Castle, to me, was our biggest Holy Grail moment with what we capture, audio and video wise. It to me just stands out heads and shoulders above everything else so far. Now we catch some really cool stuff this season, and I'm super excited about many of the episodes. This one, like I said, I think it resonates with me more just because of the empathetic nature of this little girl who passed away from diabetes, and my daughter who almost died 2 years ago from the same issue, and that these two girls were around the same age when they passed. So that it's very touching to me. And if I could mention for 1 second, Jimmy, because of the diabetes connection, folks, we're close to finding a cure or finding better ways to handle it. At JDRF, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund, they're the leading case for fighting type 1 diabetes. And by funding research, advocating for policies that accelerate access to new therapies, and providing a support network for millions of people around the world impacted by type 1 diabetes, this can be cured, I believe, in our lifetime. We can get this under control and save. And we've made leaps and bounds and strides in helping people with type 1. I think we can crack this nut and help people much better. If you have in your capability, jdrf.org, jdrf.org, go make a donation, because the life you save may be my daughter's and somebody that you know and love as well. So if I could just put that plea out there, and then I'll get off my soapbox.
No, that's fine. And Fader Knots, go ahead and pop up that link in Twitter so I can do a retweet, jdrf.org. And we'll get it out there for you, Dave. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Your Holy Grail moment that you think is the Holy Grail moment in this episode on Thursday, I'm not with you. It's great. There are two other moments where I was really WTF. I was right there in that mode. This particular episode has got a lot of things going on. It's pretty amazing to see, and it all happened at Franklin Castle. But I wanted to ask you about this. There is a moment, and no spoilers, everybody, you can handle it. There's a moment when the hair stands up on your forearm, and I wanted to ask you about that. What caused it? Was that fear, or was that something in the room, like when you rub a balloon on your head?
Listen, we were sitting there trying to communicate with this little girl, and I heard something move behind this chair, and I sat down because, again, being a tall guy, I wanted to get lower and seem less intimidating. And I sat down and I called forth the spirit, and we just sensed something was moving towards me. And it was this, I can't explain it other than it was just this warm energy. And you see the hair on my arms just lift straight up. Not fear. There wasn't the goose flesh of fear. It was like static. Just, when you go to the museum and you put your hand on one of those static balls that they're running a low voltage and you see people's hair stand up on end, that's what it felt like to me. There was this tingling and just this brush of hair standing up. And it was really, that was cool for me because, again, it was something tangible. And I wasn't in a state of fear. I was in a state of awe. So to me, that's it. I'm sure scientists might have a different take on it, but it was my personal experience, and that's all I can, share is what I saw.
Wait, is that an example of pure physics? Right? Are we getting into the science side of this, where this is an electromagnetic, cloud, something passing through the room? I'm talking about pure science now.
Well, let me throw this out there, and I don't know if you've ever talked to anybody about this aspect. I hate orbs. That's why we don't really cover orbs on the Holzer Files. I just don't buy into it. And I don't mean to be disruptive to other people. If you have that belief, fantastic. We're all allowed to believe what we want. To me, I need something more definitive, like we get in this episode. Not an orb. Orbs are those little balls of light that are very small. To me, they're mostly moisture, dust, or bugs, different particulates in the air. With that said, I have seen instances, which we had, in a couple of different locations I've been, where we have a static cam set up. There's no airflow, there's nothing, and all of a sudden you'll see this whirling vortex of dust start moving around the room. Now, it's real easy. That's different than just one little light orb. But if this being is an energetic form and is creating a pocket of static electricity, just think of those Swiffer dusters, brought to you by Swiffer dusters, right? What they're doing is they're creating a static charge that draws the dust to it. So that when you start seeing motion, that could be the speck of light is not necessarily a paranormal entity, but what it's following, the energy that it's trailing, might be drawing those dust particulates and things through the air and making them move around the room. So that I give that element of the possibility. I don't totally, dismiss all aspects of orb encounters. And as a paranormal investigator, we've all caught one or two photographs or pieces of video that kind of supersede that. Like last season when we were on the USS Constellation, we see the shuddering orb move through, and it's a big one, comes shuddering through this area, and all of a sudden it passes a hammock, and you just see the hammock start swinging. It was
did you see the orb with your eyes?
No, because we had a static camera. We were in different parts of the ship.
Okay.
And while Shane was reviewing, he happened to notice this movement. So he brought back the video to look to see if one of us had come by or bumped it or something. And he there was no sense for why this did. And all of a sudden he showed me this. He goes, I know you don't like orbs, but what do you make of this? And you see this energetic ball of light come in, and it's like shuddering. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like in and out shuddering, and it shuffles down that little corridor. And then as it passes the one hammock, you see the hammock move. So those were two corresponding things that suddenly made it more interesting to me than just maybe a light reflection or refraction off of something else. IR light works like any other reflective light, and you might not see it with the naked eye, but you'll see it through the examination of the camera lens.
Have you seen an orb with the naked eye?
Yes.
And tell me about that, because I have once, and I know everybody's going, okay, great, Jimmy's going to tell his orb story. I'm not going to do that, but what did you see?
Well, I was in the Queen Mary, and I was in the hull of the ship with Grant Wilson from Ghost Hunters.
Uh-huh.
And I saw two things. First, we heard a loud bang, and it drew our attention, and we saw this light ball move across the hull. And the two of us looked at each other. There's no light source down here that could create that. And then when we looked up, it was this thing sparkled like Tinkerbell at the beginning of Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights when she'd wrap her little wand and you'd see the sparkles of stardust. We saw this happen in front of our eyes. And I've seen that on a few occasions at different locations at the in Liberty, Missouri at the Belvoir Winery, down in the morgue area. I've seen it in a few different locations throughout the United States and at Eastern State Penitentiary, an orb of light moving down the hall and kind of almost spark coming off of it. So that to me is something I'm seeing with the eye as opposed to a camera that's noticing this little particulate moving around. That's not as exciting, but I'd love to hear your story.
No, mine's a simple one in that we were out in this open field and there was about 50 of us. We're doing night watches, right? We're night vision and we're looking for UFO activity. And I took a break, and then across this field, I'm going to say 200 yards away, there's a line of trees. At the back half, it's just grass, open grass. But from behind the line of trees, about 11 o'clock at night, it's dark. I see this gray thing come out from behind the trees, float up. It was tiny, but I see it and I'm watching it. And then it comes down in front of the trees and then kind of expands up to about, it was 200 yards away. So I'm going to say this thing was like 30 feet tall, but it was 2D and it was gray. It wasn't a sphere. It was flat. Like imagine a giant quarter, right? Okay. And it's there. And I'm sitting in this chair watching it, and I rub my eyes thinking I've got a floaty. And at that moment, Dave, on All That Is Holy, this lady from in back of me, she doesn't know what I'm doing. It's in the dark. We're all in the dark. She goes, is anybody watching that gray orb out there in the field? Right. And I went, and
That's awesome.
I turned to her, and I said, you mean this bleep is real? Right? I'm kind of tripping. And I turn around and I'm watching it, and then I hear everybody to my left, 50, 75 people all doing the same thing. Wow, check it out. Wow, that's crazy. Yes. And then it phased out. It was gone.
Yeah.
It lasted about 10 seconds, maybe. So the next day, I jump on this motorcycle and I ride all the way to the back of this property, and I'm looking for props. Right? I'm looking for, some cables, electricity, a projector maybe, a thin sheet of plastic in the tree, something. And it was just too remote. And the more that I got back there, I was back there snooping around, not trying to attract attention, but I was looking for props. I was, and there was nothing back there. And that tripped me out. And the trees were further back than I had thought. When I went to the back half of the property where the fence was, the trees were another 30 yards beyond that. I thought that the trees were right on the fence line. I hope I'm explaining myself right. So
I got you.
Yeah, I couldn't debunk it, and we all saw it. It was pretty weird. That's the only orb I've seen in my life. All right, we got to take a break right here, Dave. Let's get this in. It's Fade to Black tonight. That's right, Darkness Dave. Dave Schrader is with us. We're talking about Season 3 of the Holzer Files. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to getthetea.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's getthetea.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend. Let's face it, you've always wanted to do a sky watch and see your first UFO. Today, it's easy. Just get your own HP7 3B Cobalt Jimmy Church Edition night vision goggles from Hoffman's Optics. This is the same U.S. military system that I use, featuring a Generation 3 blue phosphor image tube. That's right, it's blue, not black and green. This is the only blue system in the world, and it's waterproof, lightweight, combat-proof, simple to use, and ready to go. Hoffman's Optics help create night vision sky watches, and now you can see what everyone has been talking about each night from your own backyard. Just call 760-231-9929. That's 760-231-9929. You can click on the banners on our site or visit UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. That's UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dave Schrader is here. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Rick Delano, his new film, The End of Quantum Reality, and then Wednesday night, Stephen Bassett joins us. Tonight, it's Dave Schrader, and Dave, last week, I had on, I don't remember. Okay, let me start there. I don't remember, but I got a phone call. We're doing open lines. Get a phone call from one of the Fadernauts. Her name is Deb. And Deb says, the next time you guys have on Dave Schrader, and obviously they didn't know about you and I talking, later on in the week, but next time you have Dave Schrader on, you've got to ask Dave about door number 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I was like, okay. Dave, do you know what Deb is talking about?
Once in a while I throw a question out to people. And if you had these doors before you, and Jimmy, I'm trying to remember what each one had behind it, but it was like you could only open one door and you would be given proof of existence or non-existence beyond a shadow of a doubt of aliens, Bigfoot, life after death, or God. Which door would you open and why?
Okay. I'm going door number 1.
Okay. And why? What would make you want to choose that door specifically?
Because,
and knowing you may not be able to prove to anybody that it exists, but without a shadow of a doubt, this is it.
Because I would get the answers for doors number 2, 3, or 4 from door number 1.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I like the challenge once in a while, people. What are your takes on it? And I'll tell you what, sometimes mine shift from one to another of and it just kind of depends on my mood that month and what I'm focused on. But, yeah, it's always, so I challenge your listeners. Think about that.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what door do you pick?
Here's the scary thing, because, a part of me, I really want proof of the afterlife. I want to know if there's something, but that to me is terrifying, because if I open that door and it's just a black void,
right, you're screwed.
Right. Which really, if you open, that door and it tells you that kind of answers the God question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Right. So that kind of gives you the overall holy beep moment. I've seen ghosts. I've seen a Bigfoot. I've seen an alien craft. I don't doubt that we've been in contact with aliens and that aliens haven't had a hand in our world. As crazy as that might sound to some people, but that's just where I come down. So like I said, it vacillates. I would maybe like to understand what these things are then that we're experiencing around us, if there is no afterlife. What are these ghosts? Is it something that we're projecting? Are we nothing more than just the slide projector that taps into the energy that was once in this location, mm-hmm. and we're able to see those slides because we're resonating at that same level, or because so many people have gone there and fed the energy that it's accessible like an internet cafe to everybody?
You're a spiritual guy, right? Yeah. You've got 95 kids. By the way, Dave, can I say what's happening with number 5?
Yes.
Dave is expecting. Did it happen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, they keep teasing me with it, but grandbaby number 5 is due any day now.
Grandbaby number 5.
Yeah. How'd I get to be that old?
Man, that's got to make you feel pretty special. That's pretty cool.
Well, I've got, between my wife and I, we have 11 children.
Oh, man.
So I'll never be able to retire because I'll have too many damn Christmas gifts for grandbabies and great grandbabies. But that gives me a good challenge to outlive and outlast everyone else. So I'll be doing what I can. Hopefully I'll have all of my mind to enjoy it with. So
you better hope for 10 season of the Holzer Files. Okay, so let me. Yeah. Okay, but you're a spiritual man. Mm-hmm. What about door number 4?
Here's kind of what I've come to realize. There is an energy. There is something out there that listens. I only say that because we've been doing prayer and healing requests for our radio show for years. And here's an interesting aspect, Jimmy. In the last month, I'm averaging like 2 to 3 a day on my Facebook, which I've never done before. I've never had that many people reaching out. It's, sporadically here and there. It's like 2 to 3 a day, people asking me to place prayer and healing requests. And I've seen miracles. When my youngest was born 11 years ago, he was almost 2 months premature. His lungs hadn't fully developed. He wasn't in a good place. His mom had preeclampsia, and they said, we need to remove this baby now or we're going to lose them both. And I had to make a tough call because she was kind of doped up at the time. And do I lose her and the baby survives? Do I choose the baby and she may die? And it was one of those moments. And I put out, literally in the hospital, put out a prayer and healing request to our listeners. And I got thousands of responses and emails and messages from around the world. And they told us they both survived it. They said, your son's in for a long haul. He's almost, 2 to 3 months premature. So he's going to be in the hospital probably 6 months, because it's got to be till he's, to his due date. And then usually three months after that, he has to be able to hold his own with eating, swallowing, and maintaining his own heat. We were home in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Wow.
Not 2 weeks after his due date. 2 weeks. That's how strong this kid was. And I believe it's because so many people put forth good power and intention and love. Now, with that said, we put forth, prayer and healing requests, and they don't always go that way. I wanted my mom to survive the cancer, and she didn't. And I can't answer as to why God answers some and not other prayers. But it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it, because I don't know that I believe in the whole grand cosmic scheme of things. But, my buddy Tim put me on the straight and narrow, my co-host on Darkness Radio. When my mom died, I was angry. I was angry at God. I was angry at the world. And, my mom was a servant to the people. She was a nurse for all of her adult life. She worked tirelessly to be there for the kids that she worked for at Shriners Children's Hospital and neonatal intensive care units. She was just an amazing human. She was my best friend. And why would you take this woman? She was finally 70, was retiring, was going to travel the world with my dad, and they were going to have this. And I was so livid. And Tim screwed my head back on and said, you know what? Your mom met the love of her life, and they did travel. And they got to see the world together. And your mom got to work the job she loved to do and serve these kids to her last breath. And she got to see her grandchildren and see her son succeed and do things that he loves. And, he kind of put that perspective back on me, that when you look at it through those lenses, all of a sudden, my mom got a really rich, long life. Not as long as we'd all like it, but knowing I should have lost her 3 years ago when the cancer first reared its ugly head and that she never told me about it. We had 3 extra years with her, and they were great, so it's all in the way that you look at these aspects. Some call it God, some call it universe, some call it Mother Earth or energy. I don't care what it is. I believe that there is a power that is greater than us. And I believe that it is strongest when we come together with a common goal. And I hope your listeners around the world will take that into, thought when we're looking at all the anger and hatred and derision in our world right now. And if we come together, we don't have to like everything about the world and the leaders and what's going on. But if we can just come together more often and put forth positive things together, as hippy dippy as that sounds, I think we'll start to see major changes. And what's the old saying? If you start to change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will begin to change. And I do that.
So you leave door number 4 closed.
Yeah.
I watched.
That was a long answer for that one, but yeah, sorry.
No, but you have to answer it that way. The other night, Rita and I watched the movie Contact for the 100th time, right? But there is a moment in the film, because the film has a heavy dose of spirituality, with Matthew McConaughey playing the preacher man. And when you have this push and pull between science and spirituality, right? But there's this moment when Jodie Foster is getting interviewed, and for her job application, right? If she's going to be the traveler. And Matthew McConaughey at the end of that says, I'm paraphrasing here, but do you consider yourself a spiritual person? Do you believe in God? Well, it's at that moment where you could tell that she didn't believe in God. But everybody else in the room did. Now, this is done by intention by Carl Sagan and of course, the director of the film, but the one of the other panelists that is interviewing her says 95% of the people on this planet believe in God or a God, right? And it is very important that you represent the human race and you represent everybody on this planet. And that's a weird position for most people to go up to door number 4, right? What do you do? Because most people believe in what's behind that door, but they don't want to have their faith changed.
Right. Yeah, I'm a fan of believing, and I think that we use religion, we use different things as a crutch. I think that humanity is capable of remarkable things together. I think we're capable of doing things that were mentioned in the Bible. I think we're capable of healing. I think we're capable of transmogrifying. I think we're capable of kind of the Jedi death, that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, spoilers, attained, that they just became one with the energy as opposed to a physical death. I think this is all possible. I think that there are ways to commune with these aspects, but you have to be willing to go beyond your comfort zones, and people don't like to do that. Listen, I've challenged my paradigm my entire life. I've got to meet celebrities that I've loved. I've put out things to the universe. It was funny. I'm a huge Springsteen fan. His music saved my life as a teenager when I tried to commit suicide. And in 2013, it was like October or November, I posted it on Facebook. And I wonder if I've even got that still up on my page here. November 6, 2013. Hey, universe, I want to meet Bruce Springsteen. Help make this happen. This needs to happen. And 3 years, almost to the date, on October 3rd, 2016, I posted a picture that said, "Oh my God." All I could say was, "Thank you. You saved my life." He smiled, shook my hand, stared me in the eyes and said, "Good." Then he said, "Thanks for coming to see me." And there's a picture of me and Bruce Springsteen. Huh. So I wanted to be a radio guy growing up. I loved the paranormal. And 15 years ago, somebody believed enough in me to put me together doing a radio show about the paranormal. Tim, my co-host and producer and best buddy. And here we are, it's going to be 15 years this January that we've been doing Darkness Radio. So I do believe that when you give over and you set these parameters, you see these things, I think you can affect your timeline. I think you can time travel within yourself to affect your past and heal. I think you can affect your future, and I think you can create the realm and the world that you want around you. And I do believe, I stand by all of that. I'm not saying we are our own God, but I think we are given gifts that we need to learn how to master and utilize for good. And I've always tried to strive to do good things. It doesn't mean I'm always a good man and I don't make bad decisions, but I try to do good with the things and the gifts that are given to me. And this radio show I've used for years for prayer and healing. I've used to raise money. I've used to be a platform to help people struggling with depression and anxiety, because I do. And I want people to know they're not alone. And if Bruce Springsteen could inspire me with his music to live, because I realized I wasn't alone, maybe hearing your favorite paranormal radio guy talk about his depression and anxiety and that he's still here will encourage somebody else to keep going and move those steps forward. And now here I am, 11 kids, 5 grandchildren, and an amazing life. And, I think there's a big aspect of who we are that we can develop. And I hope people listening will grasp something from that and make a life that's worth living for themselves.
Well, and I think that it goes without saying that, Jodie Foster and her character, the atheist scientist, astronomer, and those in the science and physics community today, the staunch researchers, always talk about, being atheist and numbers, being pragmatic, right? Studying the science, studying the chemistry. That is where their belief system is. But then, Dave, and you just said it well, that what the physicists and the theoretical physicists and the quantum physicists today are discovering and want us to have faith in is parallel worlds, right? The multiverse, time travel, right? They want us to think that all of that exists when certainly these two worlds are about to collide, right? And those atheists of the world, those scientists and those physicists, may be in for a rude awakening of their own discovery.
Right. It happened to Dr. Eben Alexander.
Yes, it did. Yes.
It's happened to so many people that are in the know that they're awakened from their paradigm into a whole new reality. And, people that are listening to shows like Fade to Black and Darkness Radio, they already are a step ahead because they want to expand. And you've got your skeptics, you've got your haters who will tune into the Holzer Files to berate me and tell me what a moron I am, but they never stop watching because they hope I'm going to teach them. They hope we're going to prove it to them once and for all. And behind that anger and hatred is hope.
Well, I've said it a million times. The most spiritual person on this planet is the theoretical physicist as the plane is going down. Right. I mean, I can guarantee it. And that is it. Being in denial because you have a fan base and you're a rock star scientist is one thing, but the true belief system, what is down inside of them, they still don't know what consciousness is, right? They don't know what's the transformation from particles to people speaking and thinking and laughing. Where does that transition happen, and how does it happen? They don't have those answers, but that is certainly pushing them in another direction. It has to be, right?
I think so. I hope so. I think that science is a lot more woo-woo than they lead on,
right?
But they can't get the funding they need to talk about woo-woo. But listen, with that said, we can dismiss it, but the government spent millions of dollars on psychic war and psychic warfare and training and remote viewing. And they spent millions of dollars tracking UFOs and then denied that anything came of it and that they've closed those books. And then in 2020, they say, well,
not so fast.
We didn't really close those books. We've always been examining it, and that footage, that's real. So, you have to be cautious because, again, it opens up a paradigm and a question that they don't know how to answer, right? It's when your child looks you in the eyes at a certain age and asks you if things that they've all believed are real because their friends at school say they're not. You walk that line. And I think the world leaders in government are the parents that, I want to believe you're ready for this, but I see how you react to other things. I see the violence and the panic and the freak out. And boy, if we tell you, yeah, there's aliens and they're coming here and we can't really stop them from abducting people from time to time, how is that going to go? Or, we made a deal with them. They could take 1% of our people and experiment, but in order to keep us safe. There's so many different lines that have to be drawn, and I'm not for, I'm all for disclosure. I'm all for truth, but I'm also I try to look at things from both sides and understand why it might be hard to tell the truth on something like UFOs. And especially when you've lied for so long, to come forward and say, about Roswell, let me introduce you to Melchior 7. He's a surviving crash, guard from that ship. I don't know where it's going to take us, but I'm fascinated to be here for the ride and see it and be a part of it.
Now, I've got, before we run out of time here, just a quick answer.
Okay, I'll try.
So God, the creator of the known universe, right? Does that mean in Zeta Reticuli, right? The same God on those planets? Right? Same God throughout the Milky Way, same God in Andromeda.
Why not? If it's, or are there gods for every sector? I don't know. But listen, there are people that claim to have been reincarnated from other alien life forms. That, to me, would tell that there is a string theory attached to all of this.
Well, so E.T. lands, right, and steps off the ship. Is the Pope going to step in and baptize? Right? I mean, how do the world's religions deal with that moment?
Well, I think, Pope Benedict, after Pope John Paul, he was the one that kind of came out and said, maybe it's okay for us to believe that aliens exist. It's no longer a sin, right? And he kind of made this opening. And it'd be real easy for religion to say, yeah, God is great. Why would he be limited if he's this artisan who created the infinite and created the miracle that we are? Every part of us has a functioning aspect to it and is important. Why would he stop with one little planet? Why would he stop with one little race of beings? Why wouldn't he expand that palette to all the corners of the universe?
It would be a waste of space.
It sure would.
Sure would. Hey, Dave, you've got one of the most popular shows on the planet in Darkness Radio. For those out there that may not have listened to Darkness in the past, where can they find you, and how often do you get the new stuff out?
Dave, or Darkness Radio, we come out every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and during the Holzer Files, we are doing, so if you watch the Holzer Files on Thursday night on Travel Channel, immediately following the Eastern episode in Central Time Zone, so 10 o'clock episode Eastern Time, 9 o'clock Central Time, I immediately go live on my Facebook and YouTube page with Holzer's Ghost, and we examine the episode we just had, and I'll have special guests. This week I've got Alexandra Holzer, and I've got Karen Dahlman, because we do bring a spirit board.
Oh, that's right.
Into this episode to do something different.
Spoiler alert. I didn't want to mention that, but
nope.
Okay.
I've been mentioning it because I know we're going to upset a lot of people that are like, why are you using a Ouija board? But I hope you saw that we did something different.
It's
than
totally
I think
cool.
Everybody's done. And we wanted to try an experiment, and Karen was my go-to, and she walked me through the principles of what I wanted to do. So Karen Dahlman will join me, Alexandra Holzer, and then we make an audio version of that available on Friday. So you get a lot of Darkness Dave through that, but they can find all that information at darknessradio.com or any smart device. Just ask it to play Darkness Radio's newest episode, and it should launch for you. But, Jimmy, it's always great to visit with you. I'm so proud of the series that we've done, and I'm thankful to people like you that give me the forum to come out and talk about it. I hope your listeners will check out at least this episode this Thursday and see for themselves the Holzer Files if they haven't watched it yet on Travel Channel.
Yeah, and we've got the links up over at jimmychurchradio.com, travelchannel.com, /shows/Holzer Files. It's right there. And, of course, darknessradio.com. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Karen Dahlman is in Twitter right now. She is so excited that we just gave her the shout-out. And she's the very best. Dave, thank you so much. You and the family, all the best. And please let us know what happens with grandchild number 5. All the best, Dave.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Stay safe this year, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, Dave. Dave Schrader. Again, the links are over at jimmychurchradio.com, everybody. Very easy to do. And, of course, you can follow Dave at Darkness Radio right there on Twitter. I'm yours, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break right here. I'll come back to open lines. Stay with me. I'll be right back. 747-228-2051. Stay with us.
Here, and you are listening to my boy Jimmy Church on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter,
but listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe.
Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
The older we get, the more important it is to stay active and healthy. I exercise regularly, eat right, but recently some new aches and pains have really put a cramp in my routine. A good friend recently told me about Angioprim. She said Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement, helping people since 2003. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, calcium, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages and lead to unexplained pain. Research shows the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that may help promote good cardiovascular health. After a few weeks of taking Angioprim, my pain was gone. Now I'm back and more physically active than ever. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com, ANGIOPRIM.com, or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim right now, 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRAradio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Dave Schrader. That was a great conversation. He's the best. Darkness Radio. Man. Holzer Files. I've seen the episode. I'm just telling you right now, you need to tune in on a Thursday night and peep that out. Thank you so much, Dave. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Darkness Radio. And he's always hanging out. Facebook, too, as well. And the links for everything Dave Schrader is over at jimmychurchradio.com. There you go. Now, I want to go back. I'm going to get to the phone calls here in just a second. I want to go back to what I was talking about earlier about Parler and the founders of Cambridge Analytica. And I want to kind of make this statement. This is where I am. It's just such a weird thing to find out who is behind and what Parler is all about today. Not last week, not today, with the environment of everything that is going on around this country and around the world. Very, very interesting, right? But I want to pose this question, and it's a very simple one. If we go back to the hearings that happened on Capitol Hill with Zuckerberg and Cambridge Analytica, and the way that the Senate and Congress was coming out after Zuckerberg, as they should have, by the way, and what went down in the United Kingdom, and, of course, Brexit, and this being a London-based company. And a couple of documentaries came out that aired too as well about what was going on around the world, different elections and influence that was happening because of Cambridge. So if we go back 2 years ago, when all of this drama was going on and all of the anger and everything that was out there, if Cambridge Analytica would have said back on May 1st, 2018, okay, by the way, this is what's going on. We're shutting Cambridge down. But the founders and the investors of Cambridge are going to launch a social media platform. So that's what we're going to do. How would the world have reacted? Right? It probably wouldn't have been allowed to happen. There would have been so much scrutiny and things on it, focused on it. Probably wouldn't have happened. So Parler launches the way it does, and we know now where it's at and what it is. Okay, that's fine. But now, after the fact, we find out about its origins and its genesis and the progenitor that goes back to Cambridge. And not only that, but that Cambridge really just continued with Ember Data, a new company that was formed by those from the principals and executives and investors of Cambridge, was just basically allowed to continue in the Cambridge Analytica offices in London. They didn't even change their address. And I'm just saying that all of the anger and the outrage that happened 2 years ago, really, it's been allowed to continue. So if they would have announced a social media platform 2 years ago, can you imagine the anger? How can you do that? How can you just did this thing where you were stealing data, buying data, acquiring data through apps and questions on Facebook, and taking that data back and using it to influence elections and politics around the world, that now you want to be able to have your own social media platform? I don't think so. So I just want to put that out there. I want everybody to really think, and to have, I know that there's people out there today that are going, well, you know what? It happens anyway. Who really cares? Oh, really? You weren't outraged 2 years ago? And I'm not saying that Zuckerberg didn't deserve everything that he had coming at him. He deserved it all. But that anger is now what? It doesn't matter? It's a crazy thing. I mean, everything that the rabbit hole that I jumped around and through and down into today, every click, everything, all of this official stuff from Cambridge, from Parler. This is some conspiracy video, which I didn't watch anything like that. All of the news media outlets over the last 2 days, all of them from Reuters and AP down, are now reporting on this. It's crazy. This isn't, oh, Church, where'd you get your information from? Oh, man. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So there you go. What if they would have announced this 2 years? It would have been allowed to happen. But today it is. All right, so with that, let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Faded Black. Who's calling? You're live.
James Hanley.
This is James who? You don't have to give your last name, James.
Okay. I'm calling from Dreamland, Las Vegas.
Dreamland, Las Vegas. Where's that?
Just Las Vegas.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was hoping for some secret underground tube train going from Luxor to Area 51.
That's top secret.
Okay. All right.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that off air.
Okay. You got it, James. What's on your mind?
I had a question about the life after death thing, that host that you had on.
Yeah, Dave Schrader.
Yeah, Dave Schrader. I was wondering, when you die, because I had a girlfriend that recently passed away, Miranda, and I was wondering, when you die, do you think, say if I die a week from now, do you think I will meet her when I die, that you meet the people that passed on?
Well, what do you think, James?
I'm hoping so. I'm thinking yes, but I'd like to know your opinion.
I haven't had an official NDE myself, but I came close. Okay. And I didn't know. I was sick. I was in the hospital, and I passed out when I first. It was like this. I'll give you the short version of the story. I'm listening. I'm in the hospital. I get admitted. I'm in the emergency room. They were expecting me. My doctor called and said, "Okay, so I get there. I'm in. Yeah. I'm in the gurney, the bed, whatever. They've got IVs going into my arms, and the doctor comes in and says, "Okay, it's like this. We're going to admit you to the hospital. We don't really know when you're going to leave, but you're pretty sick." And I looked at him and closed my eyes. It's the last thing I remember. Okay, so now I'm out. And I wake up. Now, I wake up 4 days later. And when I wake up, I didn't know 4 days passed. But I woke up 4 days later, and I literally got a priest sitting next to my bed with a Bible. Right. I'm like, what? And I'm kind of looking around the room, and I'm trying to get acclimated, right? I'm in the hospital. I don't remember anything. And he freaks out, and he's hitting the button, right? He's calling the nurse and the doctors. and he's freaking out. I'm like, why is everybody freaking out? What's going on? But then I started to remember right then about what happened.
That happened.
Now, I didn't remember me passing out. I'm talking about where I was. And where I was over those 4 days was I was in this place. I've described it before. It was black. and I was sitting at a table for 4 days in this, couldn't see any walls, couldn't see the floor, couldn't see the ceiling. I'm just like sitting at this table and chairs for 4 days and writing music. But I was happy. I was in the zone, man. It was cool. So this is what happened. The doctors are coming in. They're doing this. They're poking a prodding. They're doing blah, 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 blah. It's like nuts town. And all I'm thinking to myself is, I want to go back. I want to go back to where I was. I want to close my eyes. I got to get back to that place. And I never did, by the way. I never did. So is that any indication of something? I don't know. I really don't. But it was
technically you didn't die all the way. You went a quarter or a half.
Right. Well, see, and this is what was really trippy. Over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm making nice with the nurses, right? They're all coming in. I'm trying to get info out of them because nobody's really telling me anything. And the overnight nurses, because I couldn't really sleep at night, and there was a lot of reasons for that. Changing my IVs like every 4 hours and waking me up and doing. So I never really like slept. But so overnight,
you can.
I got them bringing me steak and eggs, and they're they're hooking me up, and I'm becoming friends with them and things. I wasn't the normal patient, I'm a 20-year-old long-haired rocker. I'm not what else is on this floor. Right. So, but anyway, I started to get more and more information out of them. And what they were telling me is I scared the crap out of them because my temperature was swinging like 10 degrees every hour, right? Like going way low, then going way high. And I was going through these cycles, and they were constantly monitoring me. And they were really, really freaked out about that. Now, what they didn't say is something crazy. And that would have freaked me out. Like, yeah, you died and we brought you back, or this happened. No, they never said any of that. But they said enough to me that I could tell that they were really, really freaked out. All I know is that when they were telling me I was having these temperature swings, for 4 days, I didn't feel any of that. I didn't know any of that. I was just in this happy place. Right? I was in this happy place. It was trippy. And I'm serious. Every night, I was hoping that I was going to close my eyes. James, I'm not making this up. I was hoping that I'd and go back.
But I never, but you never have.
I never did, and never have since either.
Maybe you will tonight.
Yeah.
When you go to sleep.
Oh man, I don't know if that's an indication of. But see, this is where I'm going. I think that now I'm going to answer your question. I really think that the universe is electric. I really believe that the universe is connected. And I think that all atoms and particles and entanglement and things are connected through the vastness of space, big distances. And the energies that make up a consciousness or a soul or a human being, I don't know, but I truly believe this, that I don't know where it goes, but I don't think it dies with the person. Right? I don't believe that. Yeah. I don't know if it goes to Mars or if it goes to the moon or if it goes to a constellation or another star system or another galaxy. I don't know. That part, it's one of the biggest questions. But I truly believe that what makes you James is not the atoms and molecules that make up your body and the chemicals that make up your body. There's something else that makes you wonder and ponder and ask questions. And that's your consciousness. That's your soul. So I don't don't think that goes anywhere. I just don't know where it goes. Right? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to take a test drive and find out and come back and give you the answers. I don't want
you to either, man.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to do that. But
we need you.
Yeah, there is. I think that possibly through meditation, not even something as involved in that as that, but
dreams. What about dreams?
Well, I'm going there. So going into deep thought. A quiet room, and talking and maybe asking questions out loud, and then something falls over in your room, something whatever, but something that would give you a signal that they're there and listening. Now I don't know if you want to hear her voice out loud. That might freak you out, but you never know
at first.
Yeah. But thank you for not only the questions, but and calling into the show, but thank you for wondering, right? Because that's what you have to do. You have to wonder.
Yeah, you got to wonder.
You've just got to do that.
It's been a pleasure, Jimmy. It's been a dream talk. Well, I've always wanted to talk to you. It's nice talking to you.
Yeah, thank you, James, and be safe out there in Las Vegas.
You too, buddy.
Yeah, it's a great call. Thank you, James. And I love that he's in dreamland. Absolutely, no question about it. You know what? I've got a lot of calls on hold. This one just came in. You know what? And everybody that's on the hold, you know it. But I got to take this call. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You got bounced to the front of the line. Who's calling?
Thank you, Jimmy. Hey, it's Deb. I had to call because of what you guys are talking about, and thank you for asking that question of Dave. It goes into the God topic, and last time when you and I were talking about the 4 doors, you asked 2 questions, and I've been thinking a lot about them. One was, what's it going to take to get us all on the same page as, a world? And the answer to that is unconditional love. Now, the second part of that is, how do we get there? And when you talk about God, what I've kind of resolved in my mind, just from everything I've learned so far in my life, is that each of us have a spark of God in us. And that's how he knows what you're doing. And, like you said, how does he know what everyone's doing? He's watching you. You went into that scenario, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So that God spark is in all of us. Now, whatever you call that spark, whether it's your soul or your consciousness, I think it's all the same thing. It's bundled into God and your soul and your consciousness, which might be the Trinity. Who knows? Whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if you've ever held an animal in your arms and had to put it to sleep.
Don't go there.
Yeah,
don't go there.
I know. Well, I have to, but I won't get graphic. But when you have that animal and they give them the shot and they go peacefully, there's a little glint light in their eyes. And when they go, that light, you can literally see it. It's gone. It just fades out. And I think when it fades out, that's their consciousness, that's their soul. And they have it, and I think we have it too. And that consciousness, that spark is in all of us. And so if we allow that spark to develop into unconditional love, just like planting a seed in the ground, do you ignore it or do you water it and let it grow into a fabulous tree, a redwood? That's the challenge that God, I think, gives each of us. And how far do we evolve it into unconditional love?
Well, let's hope that 2021 brings that. I think we've run out of time in 2020. I don't think we're going to see some miracle, but hopefully 2021, this planet starts to go on the mend. Thank you so much, Deb, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having Dave on. You guys were just fabulous.
Yeah, it was a great show. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Deb from Sacramento. Deb from Sacramento. Yeah, that was a great conversation with Dave. And, look, it's always great with Dave. There's no question about that. But tonight it was extra special. And I've got time for one more phone call. And it's not picking up. Come on. What is going on? I started to notice it was really weird earlier. I was clicking through and everything is responding slowly. I'm talking about the internet in general. Opening up emails, slow. Twitter comments, slow. And it's been doing this with the phone system. It's just like really, really slow. And it doesn't look like we're going to get there. So, wow. Okay. All right. I'm at the end of the show. Everybody that was on hold, I tried to go back. I tried to get you in. I'm just letting you know. I don't want to rattle off all the area codes, but let it be known I actually tried. I'm going to go through the next day, tonight and tomorrow. I'm going to go through and read all of the comments from the various social media postings I did today. about Parler and the revelations that have now come to light. And I want to get everybody's opinions. I want to get a general feel about what is going on out there. It's incredible. And here's the other part, and I really mean this. I want to leave you with this thought. Just like I said earlier, if this would have happened and been revealed directly on the front end 2 years ago, Parler wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have gotten off the ground. Right? That's really it. But today, with coronavirus and the economy and all the other things that are going on around this country, around the world, then the revelation of Parler and what is happening right now, is it really even going to get noticed? Right? It's explosive, but it's explosive 2 years ago. Is it something that is going to take hold today where people are going to step up and go, whoa? Now, I think that there has been an awful lot, especially since November 3rd. Today is now November 16th. So 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks since the election that so many people out there have had their worlds shifted. And in some cases, shifted in a 24-hour period, back and forth. And with everything else, with the coronavirus numbers going through the roof. And we are heading into Thanksgiving and then into Christmas and through the winter months. What is going on? Are they ready? I'm serious. It doesn't matter if you're on Parler or not. Is everybody ready for this kind of just a rug being pulled out from under you? That's crazy. And do you just go into denial where your protective mechanisms are going to come into play? Where your brain is like, no more. I'm not dealing with this. I just can't deal with it. Is this what we're about to see? I think it's very interesting. Wow. Absolutely crazy. We got a Category 5 hurricane landing right now in the Gulf of Mexico. Nobody's talking about it. The war just ended, and the Armenian community is still going through crazy things right now. Right? We've got stuff that the world is dealing with. It's crazy. And then we have, on top of everything else, now we've got 2 coronavirus vaccines that are 90% and the other one 95% effective. Suddenly gets announced. Right? It's crazy. It's a crazy world right now that we find ourselves in. I am glad I've got Fade to Black. I am glad I have got Fade to Black. And right now, I know you are thinking the exact same thing. I want to thank Dave Schrader. Another great conversation tonight. Thank you so much, Dave. Again, the links for Dave are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camarion. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmasters, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2020 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, the new film is out, and it's a hit. That's right, the end of quantum reality. Absolutely incredible. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Rick Delano is here. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night, I want everybody to be safe. This is Fade to Black.